You are taking a live look at City Hall in downtown Huntsville. It is the site of a scheduled protest tomorrow that begins at 5. That is 30 minutes before the Huntsville City Council meeting is scheduled to begin in the same building.
With plenty of attention on police conduct, the council is preparing to introduce a resolution tomorrow that calls for a review of last week's protests. That review will be conducted by the Huntsville Police Citizens Advisory Council. Thanks for joining us tonight. I'm Dan Schaefer.
And I'm Nasha Sherman. We want to get straight to Way 31's Will Robinson Smith. He spoke with one of the founding council members about what the group will do over the next several weeks. Will.
Yeah, that's right. And that work, in fact, is already getting started. Just tonight, the Advisory Council had an executive meeting with Huntsville Police to start getting some of those details rolling. And while they can't discuss the details of tonight's meeting with us at this particular moment, they say they are looking forward to crafting their report.
Well, we've been real fortunate to have a very proactive police department, so there's been more of them coming to us for advice than us saying, hey, y'all need to do this.
David Little has served on the Huntsville Police Citizens Advisory Council since it formed back in 2010 in response to a use of force incident. Two of the biggest areas where they've advocated change were body cameras and tasers.
They were not used until about 3 years ago, and body-worn cameras. The big concern with that was privacy. But also the expense and how do they store all the data.
After the protest last week, Little says Huntsville police also want to evaluate and determine if there are ways they can improve on how they responded.
They are always looking to improve. They're continually training. If they need to modify a policy, maybe something happened and they discover that the police officer acted within policy, but they say, you know what, we might need to change something. They're always doing that. And we talked about that very thing in there, that the police department is always wanting to improve.
As for the national conversation, Little says so far they haven't heard any local calls to reallocate funds from police to other city services.
Huntsville needs a lot more cops. We're growing. We don't have enough. But we have a good city and we're fortunate, and our police department does a great job. So if somebody brings that before us, we'll be glad to sit down and listen. I can tell you that.
Now the council will be called on to review the timeline leading both up to the event and the time during both the June 1st and June 3rd protests. And to do that, they'll be conducting a series of interviews both with Huntsville police as well as protesters, as well as reviewing video from both parties. And then they will present their findings in a report in mid-August. Reporting live in downtown Huntsville, Will Robinson Smith, Way 31 News.